difficult for you?
It not only tears my family apart, but Peanut was the cornerstone of our nonprofit animal rescue. And 10 to 12 DEC officers raided my house as if I was a drug dealer. I was sat outside my house for 5 hours. I had to get a police escort to my bathroom. I wasn't even allowed to feed my rescue horses breakfast or lunch. I was sat there like a criminal. After they interrogated my wife to check out her immigration status, then proceeded to ask me if I had cameras in my house, then proceeded to go through every cabinet, nook, and cranny of my house for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They got a search warrant?
They got a search warrant. 4 departments and a judge signed off on a search warrant.
I want to see that search warrant. There's a number of reasons. I'll say I'm not so much interested in names. I'm not anything about vigilante justice. I want to know the political leanings of the judge. Who appointed the judge? What track record this judge has? What was alleged in the affidavit for a warrant? We have reason to believe that there's a vector for rabies coming out of this guy's house. He's had this freaking squirrel for 7 years. It's a public figure, the squirrel. What was alleged in the affidavit? I'm going to get this. Joe Neerman, Good Logic, LAWGIC. He's in New York. He's Shomer Shabbos, so I know he's not online today. I'm going to ask him to see what we can get. We're going to get the court documents, unless they place them under the seal now. Because of public backlash to the government seizing your pets and murdering them, they're going to put this all under seal now because we can't have any of those agents. They can't have their names come public. Now there's going to be too much backlash against them, right? That's how it works. They murder your pets, and then they claim protection from the backlash for murdering your pets.
A squirrel and a raccoon, and then they took them and killed them.
Why did they go through all that to get a search warrant for an animal that had been with you very safely, and the world witnessed this for 7 years? Why now suddenly did they show up with a search warrant and take these animals?
We haven't a clue. We don't know who made the complaints. Again, Peanut was an indoor squirrel, not harming anybody. He's been with us for 7 years. Not a single complaint was ever filed for this animal. We had him for 7.5 years. He became the world's most famous squirrel. We weren't hiding him by any means. He was all over TikTok. He became the first squirrel on TikTok to ever hit 1 million followers.
TikTok, not Instagram.
He did every news station around the world. He's helped people. He's helped kids gather joy. And then we started a nonprofit animal rescue called Peanut's Freedom Farm to help animals like Peanut fight a good fight when they're in a neglected case or they're sitting in a slaughter auction. And he was the cornerstone of our life and our organization. We used his platform to help raise money for the 300 animals we have at our sanctuary.
I hope the audio differential between me and the video is not blowing people's ears out, but I'm also being told, if it's wrong, it might be wrong, but that he was on the verge of being, what's the word I'm looking for? Hold on, where is it? That he was on the verge of being recognized as an educational animal as well. They had applied to have the animal recognized as an educational animal. I made the joke that this is how John Wick got started. This is how the Killdozer guy got started. You're trying to live your own life, not harm anybody, bring joy to people, help orphaned animals, and some jackass on the internet goes and empowers the administrative state to go into their secret administrative tribunals, get secret warrants, and come and murder your animals. Now, I don't know what Mark Longo's political leanings were. I haven't gone that far into it. And if anybody in our Viva Barnes Law community knows, I'd like to know. There seems to be something. We're always living on that precarious universe where this is all a big fake and he's lying. I think we're beyond that fear right now, but it still exists in my head. But I'd like to know his political leanings. Whether or not he had any political posts, whether or not in Kathy Hochul's state, where they like to experiment on 6-month-old babies with a new experimental jab, whether or not there was any politics involved in this, because politics or not, it's irrelevant. It'll make it much, much, much worse, because the underlying problem here is an administrative state that knows no bounds and that has no limits. That's the underlying problem. Throw in political malice there. Throw in political prejudice there, and then you have the political party with control over the administrative state that has no bounds and knows no limits that comes in and murders your pets. So that's the interview. Yeah, this is just taking this one from Fox 5. Peanut get out of here. Peanut the squirrel seized, euthanized in New York State raid. Elon Musk reacts. They say the internet famous squirrel from a New York man's home was seized, resulting in the beloved critter's euthanization and sparking outrage among fans. It should spark outrage, not among fans, but among humans. Peanut, known for his cowboy hat and waffle-loving antics, had gained a social media following of over 500,000. Mark Longo, Peanut's owner, was devastated. According to Longo, at least 6 officers from the DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation. Do you typically, when you're from environmental conservation, do you typically kill the animals? They came to his door, seizing Peanut and another of his unconventional pets, Fred the raccoon. Fred, that was my Medicare name. FRE for the last 3 digits of your last name and D for my first. Longo expressed shock, sorrow, describing both animals as cherished members of his sanctuary, which he founded in 2023 as a safe haven for rescued animals. The news has sparked widespread backlash, with even Elon Musk weighing in his X. The government should leave people and their animals alone. Fans are heartbroken. Why did authorities take peanuts? The DEC said it launched an investigation following reports of, quote, potentially unsafe housing of wildlife that could carry rabies and the illegal keeping of wildlife as pets. It's an amazing thing. Are they now empowered to like go and raid people's homes if they have a squirrel infestation in the ceiling? This is fucking madness, period. First of all, I know plenty of people, well, maybe not plenty, a handful of people who have raccoons as pets. Apparently, they're smarter than dogs. They're extremely cute. And squirrels? If you have a rat now, people with pet rats, pet mice, government gets to raid your house, kill them, maybe kill somebody in the process? If this guy had been a Second Amendment loving man and DEC shows up and he sees them grabbing his squirrel, or worse yet, he doesn't know who they are or why they're there. This is how accidents happen. But the idea of, understand this, rabies. I said this in one of my tweets, and I said this in the video that I put out earlier. Squirrels do not carry rabies as an exceedingly exceptionless rule. The reason why, as was explained to me by a vet, they're not nocturnal animals, so they don't typically cross paths with the animals that do carry rabies, such as bats. Raccoons can, because they're nocturnal animals. There has never been a documented case of transmission of rabies from a squirrel to a human. Never. You can fact check me. I looked this up because, as I joked earlier, like every time I would get my GoPro back for one of my squirrel videos, it would have squirrel saliva on it, and I would spend the next week thinking I'm going to die from rabies because I'm absolutely idiotically neurotic. So this is all pretextual bullshit for the government to come and open your front door, kick it down, and rummage through your shit. That's all that this is. Longo claims Peanut, who was unfit for release due to a lack of survival skills, was being certified as an educational animal under state regulations. And then you have their... Despite the tragedy, Longo has vowed to continue his mission, announcing plans to set up a fundraiser in Peanut's memory. I'll never give up this nonprofit or those who fell in love with Peanut, he wrote. This is straw dogs material. This is the Killdozer guy material. Just all that. This is network monologue material. Just leave us alone. Leave us the F alone. And the administrative state says, no, I micromanage your life, peasant. I micromanage your life. You are a servant to the administrative state. We are the managerial class, and you are the objects of our management. So that is what we know as of now. Be careful for things like fake stuff. It's very, very, very tricky. It's very, very tough to make sure. Peanut the squirrel fake Trump comments on viral animal's death set X ablaze. And apparently there was a fake statement which read as follows. Statement by Donald J. Trump. This is fake, people. put the flaming fake around it so that nobody thinks I'm repeating fake news. There have been horrible reports out of New York, my former home state, where state environmental agents raided the home of Mark Longo and his wife. Mark was taken into custody for hours while officials searched his home and eventually took their pets. Fred the raccoon and Peanut the squirrel. These animals were later executed by the state of New York. New York authorities, under their terrible governor, put more effort into finding and eliminating a squirrel who was innocent by all accounts than they do control the unchecked illegal immigrants who have flooded into their state. If Peanut could have told them that he was from Mexico, they would have sent him on his way and given him a hotel room and a $500 gift card to Buddy Squirrel. Instead, he was taken from his family. Very sad and complete waste of resources. When we win, we will get our priorities in order and MAGA. You know, it'd be really hilarious if Trump takes this statement, fixes the typo, maybe fixes a little syntax and grammar, and reissues it himself. I appreciate people are going to say, Viva, you're always looking at things through a political blinder, and it's possibly true that I am. I don't see this as something that Trump would have prevented, or that a Trump administration would prevent. I see this as something that is emblematic of the problem of the administrative state that Kamala Harris and tampon Tim Walz would enhance and jack up with steroids if they ever get into office.